Oh, yeah, baby. We're off and running with episode 164 of Left Side Heavy, the podcast. My name is Jevin LaFave, your co host of the podcast. And we also have Hayden Barton, co host as well. And we are joined by long ago guest of the show, reoccurring
There you
guest of
go.
the show. Some might call him a grease ball from the six because he's a Leafs fan, currently down in the city of Ohio. My uncle Kris Middleton, not the Milwaukee Bucks shooting guard,
That's
complete
right.
opposite of that. Uh,
Absolutely. I,
Uncle Kris,
ain't a 6'6" black dude that went to Texas A&M and yeah, don't know how to
yeah,
spell my first name. I feel bad for that cat, man. He has
yeah,
enough trouble. Like, no, it's Chris with a K. Oh wait, hold on. No, there's an H in there.
yeah.
That poor fucker. He's got a big problem with it.
Can't imagine what his life is like at Starbucks. They
Exactly.
probably spell it right because they think it's so wrong.
That's right.
No,
That's right. Just completely fuck it up. And they're like, oh, crap. He's a happy customer now. Shit. We're
yeah.
supposed to show how miserable we are
Yeah,
here.
damn it. Damn
Yeah.
it. How you doing, man? It's been
Good.
a long
Good.
time since you've been on the podcast. Last time you were on the podcast at the beginning of the playoffs last year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago, when the Leafs decided to go and fucking
Yeah.
shit the bed, and it seems to be a reoccurring theme of when I show up that
Yeah.
it's the Leafs shit in the bed again. So,
Well,
sweet. Thanks for having me.
don't worry. 2 episodes ago, we had my buddy. He was a Boston fan, and we got to
Oh,
talk to him the day after getting eliminated by Florida.
yeah,
So we caught
yeah.
it at just the right time. It's
Oh, it's all good. You got to get those people at the highs, right? Get the
exactly,
hot takes and everything. So,
exactly. Well, glad you're doing well, Hayden. How
yeah.
you doing, buddy?
It's going good, man. Absolutely heater of a day. Since none of you two are in British Columbia, it's been fucking hot. And yeah, I'm generally a warm person, so I'm sweating my balls off.
Safe to say.
Oh,
It's terrible. Absolutely
yeah.
terrible. It's May, god damn it.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was it today? What temperature was it there today?
It was 28 today. Yeah,
Holy fuck, yeah. Yeah.
yesterday was 37, and then the day before that it was 34.
Yeah, that's a bit aggressive. That's an aggressive pull. You Pacific Northwesterners can't really deal with the heat too well. So
Well, it's
No,
because we never see it coming, so we
it's
can't
true.
prepare for it. It's
It's
like one
true.
day it'll be 12 and the next day it'll be 32. It's like, can you at least stay
that's
consistent?
literally how it was. It was literally 17 degrees, and then it was, oh, next week prepare for a heat wave
Yeah.
for 3 days. And
Yeah,
it's
pardon me. I don't have the wardrobe for that yet.
Yeah, that's it.
what
It's
the
still in the
fuck?
boxes in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I
I'm waiting
hear you.
for H&M to drop their sale clothes or
There
something.
you go.
Yeah. But yeah, it hit 30 the 2 out of the last 4 days here in Dauphin, so it's been pretty warm as well.
I don't speak in Celsius anymore. Sorry, boys. I've been Americanized. So
Yeah.
yeah, it hit 80 here, which is probably what 28 or something like that. I can't remember. So,
My
but yeah, it
my
was pretty
dad
warm today.
always said like double it and add 30 or something. I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
how
some
accurate
Yeah.
that is.
some fucking equation. I just remember that 20 is around 70. That's the way I remember it. Because when I was a lifeguard, we always knew when it hit 70 degrees and that's 20 Celsius, we could close the pool. So we were always looking at it in the middle of summer, get to that fucking 69 so we don't have to work anymore. So
What temperature is like the same in Celsius as it is in Fahrenheit? I know there's one. It's like
Negative
minus
40.
-40. That's what it is.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? I
fucking
don't
Jesus
I don't
Christ,
know.
fucking Hayden for the Jeopardy win over
know.
there. Easy there,
Yeah.
Alec Torbeck. Fuck.
It's
Ken
the one
Jennings over
thing I
here.
know.
Fuck.
It's like the one fucking thing I know.
That's the only reason why I got him on here is to like
I
spit
like
those
it.
random facts of
Here we
knowledge.
go. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So we're
Okay, well, let's get into this episode, the nitty-gritty. We're gonna start off with the question of the week. As I prefaced earlier before we started recording, it could be answered in any realm that it could be sports, non-sports, any way you want it, but pretty open-ended. But what is an unpopular opinion that you have, or something that you think is overrated that everyone else doesn't?
oof. You can get us in a lot of trouble with that statement there. So
Man, do you have one?
Are you talking to me or are you
I was
talking to
talking to
Jeff?
Jeff. Hopefully
Okay,
he'll
yeah,
I
give like some
yeah.
insight to an answer here first.
I have one, and like
Do it. Break the ice. You got to break the ice when you drop it because that takes some time for Hayden and I to get a good idea of some good hot takes on that one for you.
BLTs are the most overrated sandwich on planet Earth.
Elaborate.
It's so like plain. There's no flavor to it. Like it's majority lettuce and tomato, and there's a slim pickings of bacon. Like bacon can't be your main meat on a sandwich. It needs if there's chicken, turkey, ham, and then with a supplemental bacon on it, then it's a sandwich. But BLT is it's just an incomplete sandwich. There's too much lettuce and tomato that overpowers the bacon, and I just think it's overrated.
That's not a bad take.
No, that's not a
I won't.
bad
I
take.
won't. I won't. I won't disagree. I would say that the BLT had with the onslaught of craft burgers, the BLT has kind of dropped down. You can't do that anymore because you got to have a nice little freaking Black Angus patty in there to slide in with it, right? And then you got a
Yeah.
nice burger. Throw it onto like a patty melt instead, right? So,
Like there's
oh,
like at Tim's and McDonald's and stuff, they have the belt, which is like at least there's an egg in there that kind of complements the bacon and makes it a bit better. But like if it's just bacon, lettuce, tomato, it's like no, it feels kind of dumb.
mhm. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just yeah. Do you guys have an
Well,
answer?
oh, I I would say I'll give you one. I'll give you my take here. I don't know if it's super hot or not, but I won't. I'll stay away from sports since we'll be talking for a bit on it. But Dave Matthews is quite possibly the shittiest band that has ever played, and it sounds like fucking a bunch of stoners that got into a fucking band and just ran into some fucking dude who had a lot of money and said, "Yeah, let's record it and see what happens." And all it is, that's all. They're fucking terrible. They suck to high heaven, beyond both.
Dave Matthews Band. Not
Awful.
a fan.
God, oh, when I was in college and university, people were listening to that shit, and I'm like, this stuff's terrible.
I got another unpopular opinion. I think pie sucks.
Pie
I
depends.
I think
Oh,
pie sucks.
well, it's because you're
okay.
fucking you're celiac, man. You got the
Doesn't
fucking gluten
matter.
free.
I
You can't hit up the crust. You need a solid crust, and you're all good, man.
I've always stayed away from pie even before
You
my
know,
celiac days.
I don't know, man. I'd go pie over a cake. You know,
No, I think
yeah,
cake
man.
is far superior over pie.
Depends on the pie. Like, what about a solid pecan pie? You know, sweet potato pie. Sweet potato pie is where it's at, man. It's where it's at. That's a solid pie right there.
Yeah, just not a pie guy. I just
Pie
think it
guy.
sucks.
I I will not agree with you on that one. I think pie
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like there's so many great pies. You got the
Yeah.
staples, apple and pumpkin,
gross.
elite.
Both
Lemon
Yeah.
gross.
lemon meringue pie is
Yeah.
so underrated.
Fuck
I
coconut
love that.
cream there. So coconut
Coconut
cream.
cream. Yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
Dude.
Pecan
Disgusting.
Yeah.
pecan pie. Oh my
Pecan
god,
pie.
Jeff.
It's a fucking giant butter tart, man. You're all
It's
good.
yeah, Jeff. I don't agree.
I haven't had pecan pie. So
Oh,
like, but like I'm just saying like the staples, like I I've never liked a pie, so I
oh.
don't like pie.
I don't know. Strawberry rhubarb's a solid one going right there. That's another good one. Oh, I'm definitely with you, Hayden. I'm down with the pie. The pie is where it's at. Then there's the one that The Rock liked the most, which was the poontang pie. So we were good on that side. You could slide that one in.
The cream pie.
There you go.
Different versions of the cream
There we
pie.
go.
Oh, this is a hard question. You guys are taking it in a direction that obviously very open-ended. So I guess I'll continue that. Social media, very overrated.
I agree.
It's a platform that is used to, I feel like, almost trigger the worst in people without even realizing it.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like people who do use it are part of the stigma, but people who do use it and realize it at least know the difference between reality and an online profile. It's when you get so into the media and all that shit that life just starts to end for you and you become a whole routine for higher society.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think, I think social media is very overrated if you don't realize that it's bad.
Yeah. I like being on Twitter because there's so many different forms of like takes and news that you can get for stuff. Like I mainly use Twitter to see what Friedman's tweeting, what Schefter's tweeting, what Shams is tweeting, Woj. Like I kind of use it for that and to hear like Biz and Ryan Whitney and hear like the guys like give their opinions on it and then just read the replies to see what people are saying. Like I follow a lot of like insiders and sports accounts on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. Instagram, I barely use. TikTok is mainly just for entertainment, and I only have a TikTok is because I post stuff for the podcast on there. And Snapchat is irrelevant. Like I could gas that app in a second and be totally fine with it. It's
Yeah,
a
I
pointless
don't
app.
really consider Snapchat social media. I just feel like
It's weird. It's like a
it's a
picture sharing.
way,
It's dumb.
yeah, it's a way of like messaging people that's not really relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I agree. I think social media is incredibly overrated, and it, like you said, it's like it's a very dangerous spot to be in, especially for athletes and high profile people, because it's like you say one small thing wrong and your
And the
career's
internet
ruined.
takes it and runs with it.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It's pretty overrated.
It's a say you do the same thing I do, Jeff. I use it more for news and stuff like that. And actually, last week, funny enough, and I wear this as a badge of honor. Very rarely do I interact on Twitter, but if you guys know Damian Cox at all, have you know him out of Toronto?
No.
He used to be a reporter for the Star. He's a clown. So I ended up he kind of rallies, he bangs this drum, and he will only support like his view, but he loves to talk about he wants freedom of speech and whatnot. So after the Timo Meyer hit, which was an absolutely fucking beautiful hit that Trouba laid on him,
Yeah.
anybody who has ever taken a fucking hockey lesson understands you don't cut across the middle with your fucking head down and
Yeah.
looking at the puck. You're gonna get licked.
Yeah.
But Cox's stance was that it was a dirty hit. Trouba should have been kicked out. And I kind of said, don't you think that like Meyer should have had some responsibility there? And then fucking blocked me. So I was like, he didn't even reply. He's like just a fucking chicken shit. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's as you said, Aiden, it brings out the worst in people. I think Mike Tyson kind of said it best. He has a quote out there about basically people hiding behind their keyboard and people aren't scared to say
Oh,
stuff because somebody won't punch them in the fucking face. And
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what this is you have people that share opinions, which if they're in front of people or they're in a room with people, they won't share it. I think it's kind of going downhill. To tell you the truth, it's really starting to have a lot of negative connotations and having really people's opinions out there that they should just shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah,
I
they
think
should just really keep to themselves.
yeah,
I heard
Yeah.
I saw like Bo Burnham. He was on a hot stove with a bunch of like Ray Romano and a few other comedians and stuff. And he was saying like another comedian was like, you got a lot of shit for like coming up quick in the stand-up comedy world because you didn't really like you got a lot of shit for it even though you're quick success. And he's like, yeah, people never like always shit on me because I never went through like five people at the clubs, no one laughing, blah, 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 blah. Like he never experienced that. And he's like, but I've dealt with 10,000 internet comments talking about how much of a fraud I am. And you realize that like comedians can deal with hecklers because they'll limit what they say because they have a face to what they're saying and they're in front of a bunch of different people. But when you have just a faceless account, they can say anything they want without any repercussions. And he's like, that's people hide behind social media. And so it's a dangerous world, man. And like sometimes I'll type out a reply to someone who said something so stupid, but I just know I'm like, this is not worth my time. Like this just is not worth my time because something could go wrong here. If I want to get a job in radio or something and something tracks back to that, like it could be like I've stay away from replies and just strictly look for entertainment and
You need a burner account,
yeah.
bro.
you do. You need to go Kevin Durant style.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
do.
Gotta get that KD going on, man.
I've actually
Levin Japave.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. Don't worry, guys. It's just me with that
Yeah,
glasses, nose, and
that's it.
mustache
The
thing
big,
on.
the fucking Groucho Marx, man. I love it. Do it.
Oh my god.
I saw one interaction between someone and a UFC fighter, and he was basically talking shit like about him over Twitter, and the fighter was like, "Oh yeah, you think so? Like, why don't you say that to my face? Like, you wouldn't say that to my
I know
face,
the
would
one you're
you?"
talking about.
And he was like, "No, because he'd kick the shit out of me. That's why I'm using Twitter." He was like,
It was
"Honestly,
so
fair
good.
enough.
That
Yeah,
was awesome. And he's like, that's a good
fair.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. At least you're admitting to it. No,
Yeah.
he's like, no, I'm using this because you would literally kill me. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm saying it here.
It's, it's
And,
funny you're saying that. That's funny.
and it,
Anthony Jeselnik. We were talking about
yeah.
him before.
Oh, so funny.
He has a bit about that. How he's like he knows he doesn't follow current affairs, but he knows that something happened because he gets like all these text messages. Don't say it. Don't go on Twitter and stuff like that. So there's a whole bit about it where he just makes rude comments on big things that happen.
Yeah.
So
He was
it,
talking about how like playing the villain to him is just makes his career so much more
Oh,
entertaining.
he's fucking hysterical. Like his Twitter thing, I think he said was when the Boston Marathon bombing happened, he sent out a
Oh
tweet that
no.
said he sent out a tweet. He goes, "Sometimes there's just some lines that just can't be crossed, just like the finish
Uh
line today." And it's just like it's just like, oh man.
yeah, his delivery and his stand up is some of the best I've ever seen.
Oh
And
yeah.
his TikTok account is unbelievable. And the comments on it are like, I watch this guy's videos every day and I still don't know when the punchline is coming or what direction it's going. Like he's a master when it
Oh,
comes to
he's
that stuff.
phenomenal. He is phenomenal. He is just he's a treat to watch. So he's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
So
All right. All right. Let's question of the week here. We're gonna jump into round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's over. It's done. And we're gonna start off with the most recent series. We are recording Tuesday night here. Dallas doesn't he they restrict the comeback from Seattle and they beat Seattle in 7 games, 2-1.
Called it.
Shout out to Hayden. I think I said 6, so I think I was 1 game off. I may have
I
said
said
7.
7.
I can't remember. But Dallas, I did not think they were going to do it just based off how Ottinger was playing, and I think Seattle just had it in them. They were pesky, but Wyatt Johnson scores the game winner just after he turned 20. Absolutely insane. But Kris, how did you think about Dallas for Seattle?
pretty inconsistent series for both teams. I think that's probably pretty true for the entire second round. Like I don't think anybody
Yeah.
really fucking lit it up and was like, man, they are on their A game. Um, the thing that it was interesting to me watching that series is how Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin have said, okay, I'm cool going back to second line. Sort of like we're the reinforcements. They're not trying to be the big dogs anymore. They're not having that pride level that they got to be. They're good with kind of stepping back. Um, Rope kind of just took over when he needed to in that game and just sort of just kind of stepped up. Uh, but they're looking good. They got the goaltending when they needed it. Ottinger did it in that. You got to feel for him, man. Like what was it? 12 seconds left in the game. They fucking broke the shutout in Game 7. So I'm not shocked that Dallas got through. It would have been a cool story, I think, if Seattle did get through. Unfortunately, probably Vancouver people wouldn't have been too happy about that. But
I would have lost my mind if I had saw a Seattle Vegas
oh,
conference final. I
well,
would have
there you
lost
go.
it.
Yeah, but that would have been a Gary Bettman wet dream, man. He
Oh
would
my
have been
God.
Jerry would have been
So
ripping one off in the corner.
he's
So,
like, we're expanding to 50.
oh fuck, man, don't start. You know it's happening, man. You know the rumors are
Yeah.
out there. So, but I thought it was. I don't think Dallas is going to get by Vegas. Hint, hint. Where I'm kind of leaning. But they're just so inconsistent, man. Like they can look fucking amazing, but other times you're like, wow, they're trash. So
Yeah. Like
that's
Jason
what I took from it.
Robertson had like 1 point the entire series. And it's like they got through in 7 without him producing.
Mhm.
But like Rupe Hintz has clipped superstar level these playoffs, and he's put Dallas essentially on his back almost, along with I'd say Miro Heiskanen playing 28 minutes a night, just being an absolute force out there. But I also that what makes Dallas scary is like they've made it to the Western Conference final with inconsistent goaltending and Robertson not playing up to his regular season potential, and they're still winning games. So it's like if they find a way to get it to the next year, how good can this team be? I know I'm sounding like Dave Pratt right now. How good can they be? But it's like, what's Dallas's ceiling if all their players are clicking at the same time? Because right now they aren't, and they're in the third round. So it's like, fuck, they're such a hard team to gauge. And they could be out in 5, but they could beat Vegas in 6. Like I have no idea how good this team is, but it's I'm excited to see what they can do. And I really like the point you brought up about Ben and Sagan because I think that's massive for the coach and just for the team overall. Like these guys aren't trying to do too much. They know their place, and it obviously puts them in a better position because they're not playing as good as talent. So I think it just works on all levels. But hey, what did you think about this series?
Yeah, I watched game 6 and game 7, and it was amazing just to see because I was like on Saturday night, I'm like, wow, Seattle's going to fucking destroy Dallas in Dallas. And then it was just one of the most back and forth game 7s that I had like ever watched in my life. And when the first Dallas goal was scored, the momentum that Dallas had, even without their top players performing to like the absolute most, it just felt like Seattle was dead in the water. Like they weren't doing anything. They only did something as soon as they realized, they're like, oh fuck, we need to score.
Yeah.
And then Dallas scores again. And now it's 2-0. And then they ended up scoring with like what 17 seconds left. You're like, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. Dallas Ottinger finally maybe smacked some sense into himself and said, "I'm better than this." But this Dallas team has scraped by and is they're now in the third round. I don't know how. And if game 1 goes good against Vegas, they could be scary.
Yeah.
It's just the first 3 rounds have been saying they've barely gotten by.
Yeah. It makes them so hard to gauge for like it's just
Any
like
sort of guessing.
it's hard because they have all the pieces to be a Stanley Cup winner, I think. Like I think their depth has been really good this year, and their young studs are playing out of their minds this season. But it's just like you'll get them every second game, and it's like sometimes you can't have that because even when you do have it, you could get outplayed still. And I think that happened this year. I think Seattle was the much better team this series. It's just in the last game, it didn't go their way. Like Grubauer played unbelievable. Like he played great these playoffs. Seattle's depth really showed, but it went Dallas's way in game 7. Sometimes that's just shit happens.
Dude, the DeBoer effect, man. 7-0 game 7s.
He's about to steal Justin Williams' nickname.
Shit, man, that guy's unreal. So, but yeah, it's the thing that I think that's funny about the playoffs. I know we got to talk about the other series in that later too. Is everybody's kind of shitting on the second round, it seems, and not really anybody good went through because basically Boston got kicked out, and then you sort of look and you go, wow, I can't believe New Jersey actually beat the Rangers, but New Jersey was technically the favorite. Like Dallas was still a pretty fucking good regular season team. Vegas fucking won the conference, like we're not talking about people that were hot garbage, right? We're like Florida's the one that's you're sitting there looking at going, what the fuck's going on over here, man? Everybody else is sort of, you're kind of like, all right, that kind of makes sense if you look at it, how the regular season was going.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one thing that is telling within going back to the Dallas series, though, is they put it on when they needed to put it on. when they were doing it and able to show what they were in the regular season as well. Like that's how they got to where they were at, right? They were right there with Vegas to win the conference there. So
Yeah. Dallas finished second, just a couple points behind Colorado for the Central. Vegas won the Pacific and the West. Carolina won the Metro, and Florida was a wild card team, but I think they were better than what their record said. Like, technically, the right teams are in the Western Conference Final. Maybe you don't want to say it full on the right teams, but like, technically the better teams have moved on.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's not going to bring in the best TV viewers because everybody wants to see McDiesel and Leon play, but Vegas was the better team in the regular season. So obviously I wanted to see Edmonton move on, and we'll go into that series next, but it's like Vegas was the better team during the regular season, and they got better goaltending, and they were just deeper all around, and Skinner was pathetic. I kept trying to defend him with every last breath, but each game he would just like put me in my place and like just prove me wrong every single time. And we'll talk about this Edmonton Vegas. Vegas cleans Edmonton out in 6. Leon Draisaitl had 1 point after game 2, and Vegas just was a fucking they were a dog on a bone all series long. Hayden, me and you were Edmonton hoes for this series, for these playoffs, and our dreams are now dead. But what did you think of this series?
Like you said, man, Skinner just underperformed in almost every aspect. Like, yeah, some goals, there's no defending it, but then it just felt like he wouldn't try in other opportunities to save certain shots or even make a second effort. It just felt like Vegas and Edmonton are both good teams. I think we see that too, because for the first 4 games, it was Vegas outplayed, Edmonton outplayed, Vegas outplayed, Edmonton outplayed, like all to each their own opponent. Like it's crazy because it wasn't like a back and forth series like we wanted. It was, wow, this was a boring game. Wow, this was a boring game. And then Vegas topped it on once they realized like Skinner was just kind of a scared rookie in the back of a net. And I guess I'll kind of allude to this. I was honestly surprised that they didn't try and play Campbell for game 5 or anywhere sooner.
Like, how can Skinner get pulled like 4 games in a row and you keep going back to him?
Right? Like, if you pull him once, that should just kind of say, all right, Skinner, take the night off, man. Like, look at it from a bench perspective. Let Campbell, who's been in net already and came in and recovered, Campbell didn't let in a shot the whole time he was on. So, like, let him go for a game. If he loses, he loses. Then you know what you have. Then just try and get Skinner some reps. But like this was just an ugly display by Edmonton. But I do want to give a shout out to Vegas. They were the better team, and it was Marchessault, right?
Mm-hmm. Natty Hattie. Yeah, he had the Natty Hattie. Yeah.
Yeah, props to him.
That guy fucking pisses me off.
He had an unbelievable game to put Edmonton away, and you got to give props to it, even though it fucking pains to say.
Marchessault makes me so mad, but like in a very I respect this dude kind of way. Like, I don't hate Marchessault. He always kills the teams that I'm cheering for, and he comes up in the big moments, and he's just a fucking gamer all around. Like, that power play goal he shot from the top of the left circle just snapped it right over Skinner's glove. As soon as that went in, I'm like, it's over. Like, It's done. We're down. Like, nothing seems to be going right now. Natural hat trick. Like, that's the goal that chased Skinner. It was just, yeah. I mean, Marchessault is an absolute gamer and coach's dream. I would take that guy on my team any day of the week. And he really helps that team in so many ways. But Uncle Chris, what did you think about Vegas Edmonton?
Well, I think Woodcroft has some fucking answers that he has to provide as to how you pull Skinner. You're paying a goalie $5 million a year, and then he comes in, stands on his fucking head. Hayden, you already mentioned it, man. He didn't let a shot in. How the fuck don't you ride that? Like what? Like I don't get it. And let's face it, Skinner wasn't fucking Vezina Trophy first round either, right? So he was okay. He wasn't great. What was apparent to me watching the Edmonton series was how incomplete they are and how fucking scared that team is for anybody outside of their top six to be on the ice. They just absolutely utterly shit their pants when it's like, lines 3 and 4 is gonna go. And it's sort of like fucking I'm hopping over the boards, you know. They're gonna have some soul searching this year. Like I know I got the Leaf crest on my hat here, but fuck, it's funny hearing all the Oil fan pointing the finger and laughing at the Leafs online all the time. They got the same goddamn fucking problem right now.
Yeah.
You've got, and I got to tell you, that fucking Darnell Nurse contract. Oh man,
worst in the league.
Oh my
worst
Lord.
in the league.
Oh,
as soon as he
boy.
signed it, I'm like, this is the worst contract.
9 and a quarter. Like that's just like, ooh.
For
man.
the next 6 years, Cale Makar will be making less money annually than Darnell Nurse.
Yeah. So that's, I wouldn't be shocked. I'll call some. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if Draisaitl's moved.
Wow.
Because so the reason I say that is you can fill out that team a shit ton more with the return. Like if you move Draisaitl, that's a fucking blockbuster. Like you're going to be able to get more on your back end. You'll be able to get some prospects, some picks potentially to help funnel up into that lineup. You'd be stupid to get rid of McDavid. Like when that talent comes around, you just don't. So I think that it's something Edmonton needs to potentially consider, and especially on a contract that he's on. He's on a fucking friendly ass contract for what he can do. So you'd get a big ass fucking return. So will it happen? Most likely not, but that's what's hurting them in my areas where they're just not complete. Their bottom six is bad. But Vegas, the opposite, man. Like they're just looking. They just got such a complete team, man. They're just so well done, and their defense. They got 2 just fucking studs on the back end right there. You know, I wouldn't say either of them right now are really, Norris Trophy at this point anymore. And Peter Angelo and Theodore, but
Theodore had an awful series. Yeah, I watched him and he looked very vulnerable a lot, but I don't think he was playing like the player he is. Like I'd still take Theodore any day on my team. I think he's still a very good player. He just had a really rough series. Just like a lot of bad turnovers and lost puck battles in the defensive zone that turned into scoring chances from Theodore. But he's a better player than that. Just a very tough series for him.
Yeah.
But
I just have a rough go. So they're going to have a tough offseason. They're going to be answering some tough questions potentially.
I do want to disagree with you on one thing. I think Edmonton's third line of Derek Ryan, McLeod, and Fogle was one of the lines of the playoffs, not just for Edmonton, but of the playoffs. They didn't necessarily produce a ton, but the shit that they produced in the offensive zone time and the control that they consistently pushed on Vegas and LA was unbelievable. I thought they were.
That's fair.
I thought they were really good. They scored big goals often.
No, it's fair. That's a good
point. Sometimes left side heavy legend Klim Kostin would slip into the third line there and score some big goals as well, but he was more of a fourth line player. But Fogle, Ryan, and McLeod, they controlled a lot of the tempo when they were on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Look, are they replaceable players? More than likely, yes. But to get rid of that chemistry that they have, that they developed throughout the season and especially in these playoffs, it'd be hard to move any of those guys. And I would be more than happy to like bring them back on contracts, unless they're asking for absolutely stupid money, if any of them are free agents. But like keep them as long as you can because they really helped Edmonton these playoffs. It was players like Evander Kane and Ryan Nugent Hopkins not stepping
Well,
up.
Yes.
RNH was
Holy shit. One
Kyle,
goal
yeah.
and it came in the
Yeah.
second round. Fucking figure it out, buddy.
Yeah.
Like
I think what really fucked them. Sorry to interrupt you, Jeff, but
all good.
the one thing that I noticed with Edmonton from regular season to playoffs, their lines, I talked so well about their integrity. They switched their lines. For their front line, it was McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman. That was not what we saw all year. All year we saw McDavid, Hyman, Kane, or Nuge. That line produced like none other. And then it was Draisaitl, Kane, whoever you want to fill in, and then pretty much whoever you want to fill in. It was the integrity of the lines that switched from the regular season to the playoffs that I think is really what kind of messed them up, at least for line 2, because yeah, you look at line 2 and you got Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Evander Kane, and insert X centerman here, and they couldn't do anything. When Draisaitl is like, he's a number 1 line player, yes, but he fits and he does way more on the number 2 line than anything, in my opinion. And I think that switching up in the chemistry really played a downfall because, as you said, Chris, they didn't have any faith, it looks like, in their third line and fourth line, and they were playing catch up because line 1 was just so overpowered.
They wanted the goal. They needed the goals. That's all they were thinking about, right?
It wasn't like the long lasting play how you've been playing all season. And how they were playing all season was perfectly fine. They destroyed Vegas in multiple games using the same line combinations, but then why switch it up? I completely agree with what you're saying. If they get rid of Draisaitl, they'll get asset after asset and pick after pick. It's just how do you do that? How do you like look at him and be like, Draisaitl, you're being traded?
Well, yeah, it's happened before, and it rarely does it work out that the best player that's traded they lose on that deal, right? So it's very rare that it occurs. But I remember Edmonton trading a pretty damn fucking good player to LA at one point and still winning a cup after that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but
that's fair.
It makes it a lot softer when you have McJesus sitting there, right? So
yeah, I mean, like we'll think about it with Edmonton. Like there's a lot of teams and very skilled talent coming up where you'd think they win a bunch of cups, and they didn't win it until 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years into the league, like Stamkos and McKinnon and whatever, blah, 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 blah. We talked about those Colorado teams and whatever. And it was just sometimes you do got to go through this, but I do think Edmonton has a lot of holes that they need to fill. I think Skinner underplayed a shit ton. Jack Campbell played stellar, but was never given the chance. And it didn't help that Aiden Hill looked like prime Hasek, stopping every single shot that came his way. And Edmonton just so many chances squandered while giving up a lot of chances and Vegas capitalizing and Edmonton having to play catch up while they're clamping down on their 2 best players. And as much as I talked about Fogle, Ryan, and McLeod, as much as I like that line, it's not one that you can rely on to bring you back into the game. No, you can rely on them to kick up the energy and get your team into the game, but not on the scoreboard. So I think I'm more so Draisaitl scored 13 fucking goals and 4 goals in a game. Yes, he only had 1 point, but like he gave that team a lot of hope. McDavid drove a lot. Bouchard had a fucking massive coming out party these playoffs. Played great.
Huge.
He had a few tough games defensively, but majority of the playoffs he played unbelievable. We've said our piece on Vinny DeHarnay, Hayden. That guy is
Oh
one
my
of the worst
God.
defensemen in the
Get
league.
him out of here,
But
man.
I just think Nugent Hopkins, Evander Kane, not really stepping up and driving their lines, and very inconsistent goaltending is what Edmonton lost this series.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that need to fill. But there is one more thing I want to talk about with the series: the Pietrangelo and Nurse suspensions. So Darnell Nurse gets a 1-game suspension for instigating a fight within the last 5 minutes of a game, and Pietrangelo gets a game as well for full-on slashing, trying to take the arms off of Draisaitl. They each get a game. What are your guys' thoughts on those suspensions?
All right. I think Pierangelo was just trying to knock a fly off of Draisaitl's arm. That's all. He saw that there was one there. Let me get that off for you. No, all honesty, it's a bit of a joke. Like you're trying to get people get this intent to injure out of the game. But what I would say, and I kind of agree to one of the comments that Carlo Colaiacovo had on Toronto radio about it, because he knows Pietrangelo. He's like, do you not think Pietrangelo knows exactly where to fucking hit Draisaitl if he wanted to break his wrist or do some serious harm? So, I think that, yeah, his stick was sort of tickling the rafters before it came down. It should have been harder. It should have been honestly at least a 2-gamer. I would say in the playoffs.
I just think it should have been one more than Darnell Nurse. Either you don't give Nurse a suspension, you give Pietrangelo 1, or you give Pietrangelo 2 and Nurse 1.
Yeah.
Like, I think it should have just been more than Nurse, because Nurse's suspension, honestly, Haig came out and said he wanted to fight Nurse. It just, Nurse came down from the blue line and dropped his gloves and jumped him. But 20 seconds earlier, they both said, yeah, let's fight. So it's like he instigated in the last 5 minutes. I don't think that's suspension worthy, the same as Pietrangelo's.
I don't know. I don't think. Well, yeah, and I don't think you can go off of what NHL player safety has, because they're so fucking inconsistent with everything that they do.
Yeah.
So 1 second it's that the act is really bad, so that's what I'm going to be worried about. And we don't consider if there's injury. Then next time they come out and they fucking say it's injury there. For fuck's sakes, Bennett rock bottomed fucking Matthew Nyes. And then there's like, oh, no penalty, nothing. What do you mean? Nyes is done now for the series. Not saying that he would have fucking scored 15 goals, but still, like, is that what you want to go? Like, that was a clear intent to injure. So is that what you want out of the game or not? I'm not saying it should be suspended, but your messaging is all over the fucking place. Yeah. So get your shit together and line it up. Like, Peros is a smart dude. Guy went to Princeton, but fuck, man, that one he whiffed on. I think that Vegas got away lucky there with not having having a longer suspension there for Pietrangelo.
Yeah,
I'll let you go from there, Hayden. Bring us home on that one.
Oh, you fucking cleared it out, Chris. Like it's exactly that. I don't know, and I agree with you, Jeff. It should have been one more than Nurse, because it's like it was both consensual that they were gonna fight. So it wasn't consensual that Pietrangelo just fucking smashed Draisaitl's hands.
I thought he clipped him in the face when I first saw it. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Too. I'm like, what are you doing? But then obviously hitting his hands, like, that's gonna fucking sting. There's not really like, if you hit him right on the good part of the wrist, I know there's no padding there. So it's like,
I just think starting from up here is just like immediate giveaway of like, he doesn't give a fuck about, like, obviously Pietrangelo came out and said he was like, Edmonton was doing a lot of premeditated stuff to me. So that was just like to get back at it. He came out and said that, along paraphrasing a bit. So Pietrangelo knew what he was doing. And I just think that's a lot more than Nurse going up and fighting a guy who said yes earlier. Nurse just went about it completely wrong.
Yep. No, it's first degree. Like, there's clear intent to injure, and yeah, you only get a game. Maybe it should be more than a game, considering that it could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. So,
all right. Yeah. Well, we're gonna go to this series. I think it'll be pretty quick because not a ton happened. Carolina, New Jersey. Carolina winning in 5. New Jersey getting 1 game. Scoring 8. But Carolina, basically, I think they just controlled this game from all areas from start to finish. Freddie Anderson played great. Sebastian Aho played great. Slavin is a defensive beast as per usual. Brent Burns is fucking throwing it back to
Fountain
2017
of youth, man.
when he
Fountain of youth.
fucking won the Vesna. This guy's playing out of his mind. Devils just like I still think they had a successful season because I don't think anyone expected to make the playoffs except Hayden there. Um, and they made it to the second round without really adding anything crazy besides Timo Meyer, but that was a long-term move. They didn't really add rentals. I but Carolina just I think better goaltending, defense, more depth, and better coaching. I think just won them the series and they just had full control. And that's all I really have to say about it. And yeah, it was just Devils looked very, very JV this series compared to Carolina. What do you guys think?
I completely agree. They did not look ready for this series at all. And just when I think they did, after scoring 8 goals in a game, then they just come right back and lose like 7-2. So it doesn't really help my case that much when that fucking happens.
Yeah, they're young. I think that's it. Like they the fact they got through the Rangers, I think that was the big win for them. Their goal, they're still building, right? They're not in win now mode. So I think that was, hey, this is given the experience. This is going to let them see what it's like to win a series and then, move up from there. I do think that, goddamn, is Carolina coached well with everybody that they have out right now? Shit, if they had their full team there, man, they'd be super duper scary right now, right?
Yeah.
But they're just really really well coached. Their D is so damn solid. Like that's it. They're just a
Yeah.
really well oiled machine. Other than that one, I don't know if the one game the guys were out at the fucking Newark strip joints for a little too long or what, but man, it was just they're just a great team. As you said, Slavin's just phenomenal. He's exactly what you're looking for. He's the guy that's trying to create that new award for having a defensive defenseman because he was
Or like give me my Norris and give them the offensive defenseman of the year.
That's it. That's it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Create a new award for an actual defensive defenseman, right? But
What the award should actually be.
right. Never is though.
Never is.
Shit. But yeah, it's there's not much to really say. I think New Jersey should be happy where they're at. They're not going away upset. I think they'll be upset because they got just licked. The guy who's probably having some going to have some upset tummies this summer is going to be Timo Meyer. He's going to be seeing. He just went fucking Steve Sachs. He just couldn't throw the ball to first from second base, man. He had an wide open fucking
Oh
cage.
my god, yeah.
Wide
I
open
saw
cage.
that.
Just
Yeah.
fucking shot it 3 feet wide, man. Like, dude. My God.
Yeah,
It'll
that
be
was
brutal.
he's gonna that's gonna keep him up at night
Oh
a
yeah. Oh,
long
horrible.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, like you said, New Jersey's building right now, and I think they make the playoffs a success. Oh, they beat the Rangers, their fucking rivals, the fans who won't ever shut the fuck up about how it's their year this year. They beat them after going down 2-0 big. And immediately, I think that's a step below winning the cup, honestly, for New Jersey is beating New York the way they were talking after game two. The way I was talking, I was tripping Ian, Naughty McHottie, friend of the show. He picked Devils in 5, and I was like, "You're fucking Devils in 5," and they lose first 2 at home, and then next thing you know, they rattle it off in what was it, 6 or
Yeah.
7? And I was like, "Never mind, sorry, man,
Yeah.
sorry about that." But no, I have a lot of hope for the Devils, and they didn't even have Nemec playing. They had a sprinkle of Luke Hughes playing. Dougie Hamilton is playing fucking unbelievable right
Mhm.
now. They got Timo Meyer. Hopefully they re-sign him. They got a lot of exciting
Yeah.
players to look forward to and a lot of exciting years ahead of them.
I'd be
And
scared about Meyer though. I don't know if Meyer's as like I think he wasn't that great when he was on the Devils. Like he was okay. I don't think he's a guy that you want to drop 9-10 million on or anything like
yeah,
that. They better
well,
be prudent when they're doing that one.
Yeah, we'll see what contract negotiations are like. But
Mhm.
good news coming out of Carolina. Teravainen's surgery on his hand, it seems like it's fast tracking and he's eyeing a return in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, like you alluded to, Chris, Carolina out with some weapons, but they'll be getting one of them back hopefully pretty soon, depending on how far they go. But it sounded like a lot of confidence coming from Teravainen about his status. So Carolina could get that much scarier. The 1 year, I doubt them, is when they take off.
Yeah,
So the ultimate mush right here.
there you go.
Right fucking here. But yeah, no. Carolina, just solid team, boring brand of hockey they play, but it wins them games, and that's all that really matters. But on to the main event.
There we go.
The main event. It's time. Toronto eliminated by the Cats in 5 games, courtesy of Nick Cousins and a grainy view of a puck on a goal line.
Hell, don't you forget about a Radko Gudis nice interference fucking
Yeah.
yarn coke down. So
Yeah, that was fucking cheeky as
Yeah.
shit.
yeah. So, but yeah,
Take
man.
it away. Take it away, Uncle Chris. You got the pedestal right now.
Well,
The mic in your hand, spotlight
yeah.
on you. Netflix special coming.
There we go. Well, the thing that I think really pisses off any Leaf fan is I don't think the Leafs, Florida didn't win that series, in my opinion. Toronto lost that series. Toronto did not play well. Now, that's not saying, and I know you and I were texting back and forth, and it got kind of lost in translation what I meant by that. Florida played well and played well enough to win. They took advantage of when they needed to. But did you come away at any time in that series saying, holy fuck, man, Florida's a juggernaut? They're just like, it was just giveaway after a giveaway. Matthews was just garbage in that series for the most part. It just wasn't very good. It's upsetting because there's no jam in Toronto. There's no hard players. All of their players are the fucking same. They're soft. Like they're jello, right? And what's really making it tough for us is really the window is almost closed. Like this is you're screwed now. You Johnny T is slow, man. Like you knew you had 5 years, 4 or 5 years of John Tavares where he was going to still be an elite player. He's going to be a good player. Like, granted, he was point a game during the year for the most part, but he's not driving the play. He's not Johnny T from New York Islanders days, right? So you really squandered it, and there's just the players just look like they didn't give a shit. When you watch those games, there was nothing. Like you look on the bench, there's no get up and go. There's nobody fucking yelling or rah rah sis boom ball, like just go fucking nuts, right? I couldn't see any Leaf guy making a comment like Matthew Tkachuk made when they were done about like, yeah, we want Florida. What about that now? So I just think that it was really tough on that side for them. The one thing that I would say though, it's the coaching. I don't disagree with really much of what Keefe did. He had to do what he did. I think Joseph Wall stepping in for Samsonov going down, he was great. I think
He was amazing.
Wool is I think we as Leaf fans should be happy to see what we got, and hopefully he doesn't get wasted on that side, and hopefully he is growing. He had a great year in the AHL. So does that mean anything that's going to go on that front? Who knows? This is all on the players. This is all on the big four. And I think the one thing that Toronto being eliminated and Edmonton being eliminated, this is showing you can't have a big four. You can't have a big three. You can't. You can have one guy maybe, but if that might not even work. I've been saying for ages the salary cap's a complete load of shit. This is part of it, right? You're going to have to trade away a team that you think you could put together and build more around them, right? It's very frustrating to see it, but it's not surprising with where they are. We're going to see some changes. I think first domino is going to be Kyle Dubas. Is he staying or is he going? That's going to be it was kind of his comments at that closing, you didn't know what he was doing. It sounded like he's had some challenging family sort of issues going on. That's going to be the first one. And the next one is Matthews. And Matthews is the Leafs McDavid, right? You can't, once you have a talent like that, you can't let go of him, especially at center. So going from there, you ain't trading Johnny Tavares, like, because nobody's taking that contract right now.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't. So you're left with Nylander and Marner. So I think one of those or both are gone.
And the thing is with Nylander is he scored the biggest goals for Toronto when
best forward. He was their best forward.
He was their best player, and he's the one who constantly gets the most shit.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, it's very weird relationship Leafs fans have with Nylander. It's like he's the punching bag for 65% of the time, but then the 35%, he's scoring a big goal that keeps their season alive, and everyone loves him. But then as soon as it's like, who's going to be traded first? It's, Nylander. But it's like, he's making the least amount of money between the core four.
Yeah.
And he's the one who showed up in the biggest spot. So it's like, why don't you kind of do something similar that you brought up with Draisaitl? Maybe move Marner, a two-way beast player who clips 90 points on a consistent basis. He still had 14 points in the playoffs, but he was basically
he was non-existent.
Non-existent when it mattered most. But
even those 14 points that they weren't, you didn't watch the game and go, Marner's buzzing, man.
Yeah, like you might get a decent haul for him because he's still on the younger side. And
100%.
So it's like Toronto is in a very tricky situation. And you brought up Dubas, like there's a lot of stress on his family. I think he's the last person to blame for any of this. I think he put together
100%
the best possible thing for Toronto. It's just a matter of what he wants to do. Does he want to deal with Toronto media in the coming future? So it's going to be very, very interesting. But going to Florida, they played an unbelievable brand of hockey and got Vezina level Bobrovsky at the perfect time, making 50+ saves. But Hayden, I want to let you talk about the series for a bit. What did you come away with from Toronto, Florida?
From Toronto and Florida, this series gave me everything I was never expecting was going to happen. Sergei Bobrovsky is proving, or he's making his case as why he should be the MVP right now of all of the playoffs. He's standing on his head. He took down Boston, and if it wasn't for Toronto winning one game, you could almost shoe him in right now as the top spot.
I think he is right now.
Personally, yeah, he very well could be, because it's like you look at anyone else and it's like no one's made a bigger noise than Bobrovsky has. But then you look at their whole team and it's like, we've talked about Florida all year, Jeb, and they have dogs at all three levels. And their forwards are so deep. Like Verhaeghe's putting up an amazing series. Montour's putting up an amazing series. Ekblad, Reinhart, everyone's making plays. Some of them might be a little bit cheapy or a little bit cheaty in grabbing sticks and making sure that they don't hit the puck. But then, they back it all up with great defensive play and keep Bobrovsky at a nice like 1, maybe 2 goals against in the whole series. Like Florida is they're my team now for the rest of the playoffs, and I hope to dear God that doesn't just kill every hope and dream. But
the left side heavy mush.
Oh, it's gonna happen. But like
Carolina and 4.
Fuck. I absolutely love Florida right now. They are becoming quickly a team where I'm going to root for them. They've never won a cup before. They're making a historic run right now. Why not bandwagon a Floridan team?
Yeah, I agree. And To talk about Bobrovsky, he's playing his 4 best games as a Panther right now, and they came at the best possible times.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it quite warrants his $10 million a year quite yet, but it's making it look a lot better than it did
Oh,
prior.
I think that Florida is very happy they're paying him 10 mil a year with that. They have no problem.
Yeah.
I will have to disagree with you with who the best player for the Leafs in that series was. They had to rely on a boy from Vancouver to be the best one. Morgan Riley was easily their best player in that series.
Who did I say
So
was their best player?
you had Nylander. You were
Nylander.
saying yeah. Morgan Riley
Oh,
was
yeah. I was
yeah
just talking about
Riley.
of the
Okay,
core four. He
forwards.
came up the
Yeah,
bet, like the core four,
yeah.
like he
Okay,
came up in the biggest
yeah,
spots. But I agree with you. Morgan
yeah.
Riley was arguably
He
the
was
best
great.
player in that series.
Yeah, out of
Both
all of it,
games.
yeah.
Like
Next
he
to but
played
next that
massive.
did not play goal. We'll
Yeah.
put it that way.
That
So
wore number 44
yeah,
on
there
our
you are.
left. Yeah, but no, Morgan Riley played out of
Yeah,
his mind. And speaking of Riley and Bobrovsky, I think we should talk about the elephant in the room, the no goal.
yeah.
It caused a ton of drama, and as soon as that play happened, I saw Riley cheer, but I also saw potential. This was live action I'm talking about. I haven't seen any replays yet. Morgan Riley celebrating, the horn going off for like a brief second, but Bobrovsky pinching against the post, and I didn't see it go in. And the refs haven't made a decision. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to cause a lot of shit. And I do not envy the refs' position here. There was almost no angles of showing the puck 100% over the line, except maybe one, but it was the grainiest of all grainy shots that I think it showed the puck in, but you still couldn't confirm it 100%. But Kris, as a Toronto fan, what were you feeling watching it getting broken down and everything like that, and everything you saw and the whole narrative with the
My
goal of when it
my
came
my
and stuff?
my thought is if you need to rely on that to beat them with what you had, you didn't deserve to win. It was what it was. Like they shouldn't have been. They scored two fucking goals a game. Two
Yeah.
fucking goals a game. So if that's what you're worried about, and that's the reason you're not there, when you've got fucking Matthews, Marner, and all that, that's not where it's at. That being said, I think with everything that was seen, as you said, that image that we did see online about the puck going in, I think it's pretty clear it went in with you on that side. But was that one of the views they saw? We don't know when the whistle went. Like I don't like did the whistle go when they're viewing right when you see the puck under in the net cam, whistle's already gone. So you got no clue. Is it under him? Is it not? The fact that the NHL doesn't have the technology yet to have something that'll detect that is pretty shocking for the most part. I think that's a change you'll probably see on that end. I don't think anybody screwed it up. I'm not overly pissy like some Leaf fans would be or are, saying they got screwed. Nobody wants to see Toronto win. I don't know where that comes from. I don't think I think most people in the NHL would like it because HRR would go up and they'd make a shit ton more money. But hey, it was unfortunate, but every team can point to a shitty call that they've had, you know, and this one just happened to be a goal in a really shit spot, right?
Yeah.
So
I do think Toronto got hosed a lot in that game. Like I think there were a lot of missed calls on Florida that should have granted Toronto at least a man advantage. Like I
I
think that
think ignored calls
yeah.
is this is the image that lives at the start of it was Paul Maurice after the first game, 5-1 is what he did, and that changed the whole fucking series.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair. Like, I just think that Mark Stahl elbow on Marner, like, I think that was pretty blatant. Like, that should have been.
well, Gudis, there was a lot,
Yeah,
right? That was
I
there,
think
yeah.
I think Toronto got kind of hosed, and I'm not saying they would have tied it up or won the game, but they at least should have gotten given the chance to go a man up. Like, I think they kind of got screwed on that. But like you said, if you're relying on that, like that's why you lost, then
You
you
didn't
already
deserve it.
lost. Like I just think you should with that lineup, you should be putting 4 or 5 in a game.
That's it. That's it.
And you
Two
just
goals a
didn't.
game ain't enough.
Yeah.
2 goals ain't enough. Right. So
So But yeah, I think that's all I got here. But let's start previewing round the conference finals games. So we'll stick it with in the Eastern Conference. We got Florida, Carolina. Talk about a series I was not expecting. Florida, the last team to make playoffs. Historic run they're on right now, beating Boston and TO, two of the best teams in the league, and now they're on to another best team in the league in Carolina. Carolina plays an excellent brand of hockey, defensive two-way game, just solid on all levels of the ice. No player necessarily stands out besides maybe Sebastian Aho. But Hayden, I'll go to you first. What do you see when looking at Florida, Carolina as a series?
Well, if trends have taught us anything for these last two teams going up against the teams they've gone against, goaltending is going to be the biggest part of this series. How many goals are you going to get past Anderson, and how many goals are you going to get past Bobrovsky? Like, the whole series could be over under total goals, like 22 goals.
Yeah.
It could be absolutely just gut punch hockey, and that is what is going to drive the fans to be able to watch this series. It's going to be like, who the fuck's going to score the last goal? It's going to feel like the golden goal in full time. I don't think we're going to get maybe one blowout from just one team, but other than that, I think this could go to 7 easily. And I got to stick with the guys that I've been knowing more and more of the season, and I got to go Florida in 7.
That's fair. This series is really hard to predict, and I think riding that hot hand is a very respectable opinion because it's hard to judge. But Chris, what do you got on this series?
Carolina in 5. I think
Whoa.
Carolina's gonna steamroll them. Steamroll them. I think they're just too complete of a team. I think they've relied on I don't think Boston had a very good series against Florida. They've been underestimated. I think the Leafs' cockiness got to them and they underestimated them. I don't think you got that. You got Rob Brindamore in there. They're just, the coaching is where it's at. They're so balanced that Carolina team is just a solid team, right? And they just are going up against a defense that, I don't think they've really seen or expected yet. So I don't think Florida has a chance in hell, personally. I can respect the opinion that you keep riding the hot hand, and can they do it again? For fuck's sakes, they won the President Trophy last year, right? They didn't make that many changes in the offseason, so we know they can do it. I just think Carolina is just too good, and I think Carolina smoked them in the regular season. That's not saying much because Florida now is different than Florida in the regular season too, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think this is going to be a relatively quick series.
Carolina in 5, Panthers in 7. Hall of Fave is joining Hayden on the Panthers bandwagon. He has Panthers in 6. But Uncle Chris, I'm going to join you. I got Carolina in 6. I agree with you. I just think I see Carolina playing a more consistent game than Florida. And as much as Bobrovsky's playing well, his past years of performance is still living in my head. And I just think he's going to have one game where he just doesn't have it. And then it's going to question everything. And it might ruin Florida's mojo. I do agree with you, Hayden, that I think it's going to be a lower scoring series. I think both teams are capable of putting the puck in the back of the net, but I think it's going to be a lot of 3-2 games, maybe 4-2 with a sprinkle of an empty netter in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Carolina, especially maybe getting Teravainen back, I think they have it more in them to like pour on the scoring. You saw it in the Devils game. Like, they have the capabilities of scoring 4 goals in 5.5 minutes. Like, I don't know fucking how that's possible at the NHL level, but they found it. And Devils are a good team. They're good defensively. They're good on all levels. And I just think Carolina's going to, like, there's more complete, better defensively than Toronto was. And yeah, I got Carolina in 6. But I think Florida's going to, I think they're still going to play a good brand of hockey. I just trust Carolina more.
I think with the way that you guys are talking about Florida, you're making them seem like world beaters. And all opinion is fair opinion. But let's look at who Carolina has played to get to this position. They've played an Islanders team that plays probably the most boring style of hockey ever. And technically, I think they should have swept the Islanders just with how they played. I didn't really see the Islanders as a threat, even at like the start of the series. I remembered saying Carolina was going to win one series and this was it. And then they got New Jersey. And New Jersey, hot young team, very inexperienced. Now you're going up against a Florida team who had it all last year, the President's Trophy winners last year, and they were the young team that got their shit beat in. I think 1 year has really proven Florida in a different light and is going to make this series, I think, really debate on whether or not we'll be coming back here in a week and thinking maybe one opinion or the other, or the other. You know, like your opinion could switch or my opinion could switch. I don't think it's so chalk up in the air. That's why I say go to 7 and then obviously ride with Bobrovsky. But I think looking at the competition and who they've played, you can't argue Florida's played harder competition than Carolina.
No doubt.
No doubt. Yeah, I agree with you.
But
And
they're
I think,
they're also a higher seed, so they're obviously going to pay. They're going to play that, and
That's very
Florida,
true.
and the proof for Florida this year is if they were so fucking great, why did they have to rely on Jonathan Taves missing a fucking an empty net when he deked around the fucking goalie by 2 inches, right? Like that goes,
Yeah.
yeah,
That is true. That is
or
true.
whatever it was. I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't Taves or whatever it was, but fuck it. That's basically what it was that set them in, right? Pittsburgh lost to Chicago.
Pittsburgh lost to Chicago, yeah.
And then completely different story. So I will say goaltending wise, the one thing I'm scared on for Carolina is goaltending. Again, I'm wearing a Leafs hat. Freddie Anderson wasn't fucking Vezina Freddie when he was between the pipes for the Leafs when it came to down to brass tacks, right? In the playoffs at points. So that would be something I'd worry about on that end. You're making valid points though, Hayden. So
but the thing is with New York, like, I think they've shown up often in the playoffs. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals twice with a very similar roster. So I think you're underrating the Islanders a bit.
And they had Bo. They had Bo.
Like I
the game changer.
Bo Scorvat. I think the Islanders play a very good brand of playoff hockey. It's very boring, but when you play a similar style of another team, it makes it hard to beat because they know how to play just like you. And when they play similar styles, it's very tough to beat. But like when you play a younger Devils team where they play a different brand, you can shut them down in different ways and then jump on different opportunities. But the Islanders play very similar to Carolina, so they play them tougher. And so that's why I had the Islanders beating Carolina, because they swept Pittsburgh 1 year and then, I mean, got swept the series after, but let's ignore that. But they were one shorthanded goal away from not going in to potentially going to the Stanley Cup Finals and playing the Montreal Canadiens, who shouldn't have been there. So, like, the Islanders are a very good team. And I still think Carolina, with the roster they had, not 100% healthy, still had a very tough road to get to where they are, even though they finished top of their division. Mm-hmm. So I think both teams deserve to be where they are. And I just think Carolina's coached better and they're built better all around, that they're just going to beat Florida in 6. And I'm 3 for 12 these playoffs, so I'm not the best opinion to ride. So it's probably going to be Florida in 5. but I'm gonna ride what I think, and I got Carolina in 6. So I just wanted to state that opinion about Florida and Carolina. But all right, Hayden, do you want to write that down so that we don't forget again?
Yeah, I can write it down.
So I got Carolina in 6. Kris got Carolina 5, and you got them in 7.
And
Or
Paul,
Florida in 7.
Florida in 6. Okay.
Yeah, we'll give a little shout out there. All right, Western Conference Final. Very, very interesting series. A rematch of the bubble. Dallas, Vegas. Dallas beating Seattle and Minnesota to get here. Vegas beating Winnipeg and Edmonton to get here. Well, Kris, I'll go to you first this time. What do you think about this series?
I think it depends what Dallas team shows up. The thing that scares me about Dallas is they're inconsistent. I wouldn't say Vegas was super consistent either when they were playing Edmonton, but I'm leaning that I think Vegas is going to have this in 6. So I think that it's going to be a Vegas Carolina final on that side. I got to give hats off to Jack Eichel. He's playing great. That neck surgery, he's showing Buffalo shit. They should have just let him do what he wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
He's playing great. It all depends on if Ottinger decides to go put it on and just go rock it, right? Then Dallas will really have a good chance at moving on. But I do think Vegas is where it's at on that side. They're just too complete of a team for everything that we talked about with the series in Edmonton and even just the inconsistencies with Dallas.
All right. Hayden?
I'm going to follow in Kris's footsteps here. I also have Vegas in 6. They are a complete team. And I know I talked highly about Ottinger, and if he could turn it on, then it could be Dallas's series. But it's just too unpredictable. And with a team like Vegas, who has come in and destroyed Connor Hellebuck, Vezina candidate, and then come in and just completely shut down the fucking wagon that Edmonton is, I don't see what Dallas has other than, those two teams that makes me scream Dallas is going to win this. Unless it's Ottinger. But Ottinger's going to have to come out and play like he did against Calgary last year to even have a chance. So, yeah, give me Vegas in 6.
So I have something courtesy of Big Head Hockey on Twitter. They post a lot of stats from players. They have a lot of niche stats on a player versus a certain team in his career, blah, 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 blah. I got Ottinger's stats versus Vegas in his career. He's 4-0 with 120 saves on 125 shots, 1.18 goals against average, 960 save percentage, and 1 shutout.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So if anyone,
you're going Vegas.
So if he is to show up in any series, it has all the ingredients to be this one. Going off of history. But based on what I've seen, I'm still going to ride Vegas. And I think it's going to be Vegas in 7. And I think it's going to be a very competitive series. Much more. It's not going to be a Vegas Edmonton series where each game is going to be 5-1 flip-flopping teams. I don't think it's going to be that at all. Mm-hmm. I think each game is going to be decided no more than 2 goals. Like, I think it's going to be a lot of close games. And I think Dallas could win game 1 of this series. Like, I think they could go up on Vegas and they could really put the pressure on them. But based on what I've seen, the way Vegas is built defensively, they're fucking massive dudes. I don't know what they're feeding those guys, but Hag, Pietrangelo, Theodore, they're fucking massive body. White Cloud is an unbelievable mid defensive pairing, top 4 defensemen. Vegas just has all the workings of a very tough playoff team. And based on Dallas's inconsistencies, I'm going to go Vegas in 7, but I still think Dallas is going to step it up this series and play a lot better than they have the previous 2 and really make it difficult. It could be a back and forth, and I think it's just going to be Vegas just takes it in the 7th game. Like, I won't be surprised if Dallas wins in 6. I will not be surprised. But based on what I've seen out of Vegas, I'm going them in 7. This one is very tough for me to gauge just because of how weird Dallas is. If that makes any sense.
Makes a ton of sense.
It makes a ton of sense.
But yeah, as soon as I saw Ottinger's record, I'm like, well, now what do I do? Fuck.
There you go.
I was so confident in Vegas, and now I see this shit, and I'm like, this guy's just a demon against Vegas. But all right, well, that's the series. We're gonna go on to some award nominations. Some of them are pretty chalk, but some of them you could talk about and kind of decide on where it should go. But we got the Hart nominees coming out, and I think they were chef's kiss. Connor McDavid, David Pastrnak, and Matthew Tkachuk. And I honestly think if it's not consensus McDavid, I'd be very surprised just off the season he had. But I think all these nominees are worthy of the Hart. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Aiden. I'll pull up the rear.
This is very chalk, but it's very correct. You couldn't have hit it more on the head because all 3 of these gentlemen had MVP seasons. It's a shame for Tkachuk and Pastrnak to have this great of a season because McDavid just had the best season that we've seen in
a very long time.
So there's no question that it's going to be McDavid. But yeah, all 3 of these gentlemen should be given a huge pat on the back because they've completely just outperformed everyone's expectations. So love that for all of them.
I agree. I think that all 3 were really good. I think Tkachuk was if it wasn't for McDavid's season, Tkachuk probably would have been his award, you know, because he truly was. Florida would not be where they are without him.
I agree.
You know, so I think that Pasta is unbelievable. Great choice as well. But McDavid, this is one they should just be like, all right, we're opening up the show with McDavid walking up for the Hart. There's no point in having
and I think Pasta and Tkachuk know that, but they're still happy. They're like, well, yeah, we're nominated, but this guy had 164 points and 64 goals. Like it was just like, I mean,
he's unreal.
It's crazy.
Unreal.
The Vezina, as Hayden alluded to earlier, Connor Hellebuyck, Ilya Sorokin, and Linus Ullmark. Ullmark had a 40-60-2 record this year in 49 starts. He was an absolute demon this year. You could say it was because of Boston's forward and defense, but you could also say Boston was what they were because of Ullmark. I just think they were a very good team all around, one of the best team in history. Sorokin put New York on, I guess Sorokin and Hellebuyck put their teams on their back to carry them to the playoffs. One snub, though, I think Saros should have been nominated over Hellebuyck. I think Saros was an absolute beast, but I think the one deciding factor was Nashville wasn't in the playoffs.
Yep.
But what are your guys' thoughts on these nominations?
I think they make sense. I think it will likely be Ullmark, but I think that it should be Sorokin.
Yeah, I respect that. I
think that's where, when you look at that team, that like the teams that they're on, fuck man, Boston was a juggernaut. They just had such a good team. Their defense was good. Their forwards were unbelievable. And then just look at what Swayman's stats were when he went in net, right?
He top five in every.
He wasn't hot garbage, right? Whereas Sorokin was just ridiculous. Like that Islander team they're not that good.
No. Yeah.
So if it wasn't for him, like if they had what was they had old school Lou back there,
Yeah.
Luongo in his first year, they wouldn't be doing too well, right?
Yeah.
So
There's a reason why Olmark only had to play 49 games. Like they didn't need him a lot
and
because
that's it. That's the thing. I think it'd be hard to give Allmark the Vesna for the fact that he was almost splitting duty in a quasi way. It wasn't like Mika Kiprasov, like fuck that. You're not taking me out of this net sort of deal,
yeah.
right? But I do think that it'll end up going to Allmark.
Yeah, like Allmark he was 40, 60, and 2 with a 118 and a 935. Like he was unbelievable, but
Yeah,
Swayman was divide every Allmark's numbers by 2, like
mm-hmm.
his record by 2. And I
Yeah,
think that was Swayman's, and he had similar stats. So,
yeah.
Hayden, what are your thoughts on the nominations for the Vesna?
Again, I think they hit it pretty much on the head. Yeah, like you say, Saros probably could have snuck in there. But honestly, I think it's got to go to, probably one person. So it really doesn't matter who you're putting in there.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's like everyone who had a great season, someone had an even better season. It's Drew Brees and Peyton Manning and Patrick Mahomes all over a fucking again.
Yeah.
Drew Brees had MVP season, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, and it's like, man, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like the year Mahomes won it, everyone wanted to give it to Breeze just because out of courtesy, but everyone knew Mahomes was the MVP. But it's like, man, Breeze has an MVP season, and then this kid throws 55 touchdowns, and it's
Yeah.
like,
yeah, it's like fuck
Yeah.
me.
yeah. But we're gonna go to this one. It'll probably be quick. The Ted Lindsay, Carlson, McDavid, and Pasternak. Carlson clipping 100 points for the first time since who knows how long. It's been a fucking minute, but again, McDavid got 164 points with 65 goals. So I think this one's pretty chalk, but it's Carlson had himself a hell of a year, offensively, at least. But you guys agree it's probably just going to McDavid, and these nominations were pretty spot on.
Yep.
All right, we'll go to the Norris, which I think is the most controversial one. We got Erik Karlsson, Adam Fox, and Cale Makar. Karlsson, like I alluded to, clipped 100 points, but he was one of the worst defensive players in the league. Cale Makar played 62 games. Adam Fox played upwards, closer to 82. I can't remember exactly how much he's played, but I think he is my Norris pick. I think he had the best all-around season defensively, offensively, team impact in general. But I don't think Cale Makar should be a nominee. I think it should be Dahlin, Morrissey, or Dougie Hamilton, or even Brandon Montour. I think Cale Makar is down the list because despite his performance, I think missing 62 games, I think that plays a big impact. Whereas these guys had very similar years to him and were healthy. But I'll drop the mic there. I gave my winner. I think it'll go to Karlsson, but I think Fox deserves it, and I don't think one of Dahlin, Hamilton, Montour, or Morrissey should be in over Makar. I'll let you guys take it from here.
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Makar's in there just purely because of the name. I mean, it's almost like he should be, but at the same time, you would never give it to anyone, or you'd never nominate anyone else who had missed that amount of games, regardless of how good he played in the games that he did play. There's so many other defensemen that had such an outstanding year, and the fact that they're giving it to Makar just it proves that it was just probably a bump because last year he did have an amazing season, and into this year it was like, yeah, he's gonna be great, he's gonna be amazing, and the hype just died with it. So I agree with Makar shouldn't be in there. And personally, maybe a little bit favored, I would definitely put Montour in there.
Yep, that's fair.
Jeez, we know what he's asking for Christmas next year. He's getting
Yeah.
his Florida jersey. Jesus,
Yeah, no kidding.
good Lord.
By retirement
Uh,
home in
I,
Jupiter.
yeah, I think Fox, out of the three that are there, Fox makes the most sense. He's the most complete defenseman. Um, I do think it's hard to say that Carlson had a could win the green jacket in this one for the lowest score there on the plus
Yeah.
minus side, but I don't know. I won't lie, I didn't watch a ton of San Jose Sharks games, but their team wasn't very good. So it's really hard to kind of say the plus minus is a great idea and a great measure on that front. I do think Morrissey should have been in there instead of Makar, like with the fact that he hasn't played that many games. Not saying impact wasn't great, but still, like Morrissey meant a lot more on that side, I think, to the Jets than anything else. But yeah, I think Fox should win. Carlson's likely to win because it's who gave the most points and who had the flashiest name. And I think people want to romanticize as well. You know, this is 2015,
Yeah.
Carlson lugging the Senators nearly to the Stanley Cup Finals, right?
There's
So
a massive narrative on Carlson's season, which is why I
that's it.
think he'll win it because it's very nostalgic. But
Yep. Yep.
yeah, I think we sound like a broken record, but I don't
Yep.
really think he deserves it.
Yep.
Not to say he didn't have a great year, but just like based on what the award is, I think Fox fits the mold a lot better. All right. We'll go to the Calder. Matty Beniers, Owen Power, and Stuart Skinner. I think Skinner being here is going to have a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, but he had a great year as a 23-year-old playing goalie in the NHL. He took the starting position from Campbell after signing a 5x5. He played great this season, but I think Beniers was great both ways, putting up 60 points just about. So I think he's fully deserving, and I think all these guys are deserving of being nominated. But hey, no, Chris, what do you guys think?
I think
I think they
Beniers.
nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris, you go.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I think Beniers has got it. You know, it's yeah, they're all right. I don't think any of the rookies this year were jaw dropping. You know, this was a pretty lame year for rookies in all honesty. Like I watched Owen Power enough with the Leafs and Sabres playing several times, and I didn't come away going, whoo, watch out for Owen Power. You know, he didn't really blow my socks off, you know. So but
Kuzmenko was born 8 months later. This award is his.
yeah, there it is. Exactly. It's the NHL's against Vancouver, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's
It's bullshit.
just bullshit, man.
Bullshit.
Fuck you, Bettman.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Amen. Your words, not mine. The Selkie, Bergeron, Heischer, Marner. I think anytime Bergeron's name is thrown in this, it's his. So I don't really think we have to spend a lot of time on this, but it's good to see Heischer getting his flowers. I think Pettersson deserved close to top three. I didn't really see his name stirred around in the upwards part of the top three, but I think Pettersson really deserved to be here. Based on the season he had with Vancouver, clipping 100, and he was very good defensively this year. But all these guys are great two-way players, and I think it's Bergeron's.
Hard not to give it to Bergeron with the season that Boston had and what he's like, you know. And I think this is to the swan song, right? I think this is another narrative one where it's probably his last year, you know. He has it on that front. He's just unbelievable, right? Such a great he's this age is Bob Gainey.
Yeah.
Right? He's just so fucking good. You know, he could, if it wasn't for health, he could keep on playing, you know. I think it's telling that Marner's in there as a winger. That's the one thing I would say that's very different. I know I kind of got my leaf, my blue shaded glasses on to look at it, but it's pretty shocking that a winger would be in there as a Selke nominee. That's
Like
usually.
he's shown it in years past how good he is defensively and how much he commits himself to being a good defensive forward. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of people knew how good he was. It was just a matter of time before he got thrown into it. And I think he's fully deserving of being here,
Yeah. Oh,
despite his
absolutely.
position.
Absolutely.
Hayden?
Yeah, the award should be renamed to his name for a reason, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard not to give it to him, so that will inevitably why Bergeron gets it. So I'm not surprised.
Now, do you guys think it should be forwards who are great offensively, who also play good defensively, or should it be just strictly defensive forwards who maybe don't put up a lot of points but are defensive beasts? Do you like the way it is now, or do you think it should go towards more strictly defensive forwards?
Oh, it's the old saying for the Selkie is that the Selkie went to the best player who didn't win the heart. That's what it used to be, right? So it's not it truly you aren't really calling out the best defensive forward when this is going on, right? Like there's if that's the case, there's a guy that played in Montreal and plays in LA right now that would like to is sitting on line 3 and would like to have a talk with the NHL,
Yeah,
So it I think that it's fine the way it is. I think you need to have some star power, but to slide out shit, I don't know. Name somebody else that's a great defensive freaking Yannick Perreault. I don't know, shit, something like that. No one's gonna be that excited to talk about him, right?
yeah, I
So
agree. I agree. All right. The Adams, Montgomery, Hackstall, and Ruff. I think a lot of these Boston players are going to win it, but I honestly think Hackstall deserves it. Biggest win improvement and point improvement in NHL history from like based on an expansion team. 19 wins, 40 points. Great team. Didn't really have a lot of expectations going into this year. He had a lot of narratives around like he's on the hot seat. They might move coaches pretty soon. Like it just doesn't seem like I think they hired him to fire him pretty quick, but I think he's fully deserving of winning the Adams. And I think me and Hayden's 5-year-old nephew could have coached this Boston team to the playoffs, let alone. But I also think Montgomery coached them to the best team to ever play. So it's tough not to give it to Montgomery, but I think Hackstall deserves it more, if that makes sense. Hayden, I'll go to you. What's your opinion?
Yeah, it's just amazing. You guys are filling out every word that I need to say. I completely agree with you, Jeff.
mhm.
I don't. There's nothing more to add. Like you said, fucking even Griffin could have done it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to coach a team like that. So it's no surprise when you're like, oh yeah, they were great. What else is there to say?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Hackstall. It's impressive what he was able to do with Seattle. And I think it'd be a good win for them to have. I think it'd be pretty interesting if they get the rookie of the year and they get the coach of the year, right? So
I agree.
yeah,
The Lady Bing, this one's kind of I don't really know much about, but may as well mention it. The best player who has excellent playing ability this year, who also showed the best sportsmanship. So basically, most points with least amount of penalty minutes wins this award. Jack Hughes, Kopitar, and Braden Point. Um, I'm pretty sure Kopitar had like 78 points and 4 penalty minutes. Point had like 95 and 10, and Hughes had 99 and 6 or something. I looked at it briefly earlier today, but I think it'll go to Kopitar or Hughes. But I honestly like they all kind of deserve it because they're all in the same realm. But I think they'll give it to the vet because I don't think he was supposed to put up 75 points this year. So,
yeah, I think the reason Kopitar would get it is he plays a different style
yeah.
of game than what Point and what Hughes did. He plays a rougher game, a harder game. He's in the corners, he's in the muck. He's usually up there with Bergeron, sitting there for the Selke, right? He's in those grinder modes where he could take a lot more penalties and whatnot. So I think that makes a lot more sense for him winning this one on that side.
I agree. Hey, do you have anything to add?
Honestly, just like you, I'm not really sure. Like, there could have been a lot of people that maybe have been selected for this, but when you look at the ones who were put in for the nominees, it kind of brings a light to your life, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Braden Point did have just a stellar season.
51 goals. It's like, okay.
With like quietest 51 goals I've ever seen. So
it's because there are too many people with 60.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah. No, they're it's just, yeah, these guys are absolutely incredible.
Like, I think,
and then without like the penalty minutes too. Come on.
like, Pedersen could have been in here. Like, he had 102 points in like 11 or like 12 or 14 penalty minutes. Like, he kind of exemplified this award as well. But I mean, these guys, I think penalty minutes is the start, but then points come second. So I don't.
Oh, boys, I've got a breaking one here for you.
Oh,
so this is preliminary, but I don't know if you know about the whole vote that's going on in Tempe, Arizona today.
Yeah.
They're voting on the rink. The preliminary results are that the no is going to win.
Really?
That's the preliminary. Not all ballots are counted, but it's looking like it's in the mid 50s for a no. So like that's like I think you're gonna see the return of the Houston Aeros soon.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's a
Friedman's April Fool's tweet is gonna come to life.
Well, fuck, man. I thought Austin was playing there next. Yeah. Everybody was saying Austin's playing in fucking Phoenix next year.
Yeah. Now he's gonna be playing in LA with Kevin Fiala.
That was it. Hey man, that'd be my pick. If you were to trade him, if he wants more than probably 13-5, trade him. Can't do it. You know, send him to LA and see what you can get because they've got some full ass cupboards there. So, but and he's born in LA. So there you go.
There it is. All right.
I didn't mean to jump in with that one. I just saw that slide.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it. It's perfect. It's perfect. But that's hockey news. We're gonna do our game of the week. We haven't done one in a while because of how packed each show was, but as me and Hayden promised earlier, we're gonna do drafts for each major championship in the PGA world, and it is the PGA Championship week. So probably the least exciting major of the four, if I had to be completely honest. But we're still living to our word, and we're doing a draft, and we welcome Kris Middleton to the major draft. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. So Kris, we're doing a snake style draft. 1, 2, 3,
right.
1. You know the whole deal. As guest of the show, what spot do you want to be selecting in? 1, 2, or 3?
Woo! I'll go deuce. Give me the deuce.
All right, Hayden, you know the deal here.
Heads.
Hey Siri, heads or tails? It is tails.
Oh, fuck's sakes.
So I'll go third. I'll wrap it around.
Man, I hate starting first.
Yeah, I hate starting first, so that's why I stemmed away from it. But
and there's no we're not doing like any
I don't think there's
specifics.
anything we have specifics. We have to I said one Canadian, but it doesn't look like there's a ton in the field, so we're just going to do you can draft anyone.
All right. Well, I think it'd be stupid to not do this. John Rahm.
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, that's fair. John Rahm, best player in the world. So coming off Masters win. Worked for you last time. It will work for you this time.
Yep.
Not. All right. Chris.
Oh, that's good. I'm going with Scheffler.
Scotty.
Going with
Yep.
Scotty.
Yeah, hard not to do that. And
Yeah.
I'll go defending champion. I'm gonna go Justin Thomas.
Ooh, there you go.
I'm gonna go Justin Thomas here. Based on Hayden's face, it seems like I missed a player.
No, I just didn't ever think you would go Justin Thomas.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Now this is I want to go this player here, but like I think I might be able to pick him down the road. But all right, I'll just pick him. I think he's chasing the career grand slam. Jordan Spieth.
Not a bad pick. Nice.
Oh, Jordan Spieth.
I will go Patrick Cantlay.
Oh,
Patty.
over under 6.5 hours, he'll finish around.
Hey man, that's how he's gonna lull the fuckers to sleep. He's gonna measure that putt. He's gonna make sure it goes in and got that one. So you know
He's
it.
gonna wait 20 minutes before he gets on the green.
Well, he is
Oh.
Tiger's guy on the bag now, so
There you go.
all right, Hayden.
Now there's a lot of players I could go as well here. I definitely know who I want to take at the end of mine. Past winner too. But looking at the field, not really seeing a lot of people I like to take for the second overall pick. For me, at least, I guess second round pick, I should say. You know what? It worked out for me. He's a 2-time winner already, and I love his play style. So, and he's back on my team. Give me Brooksy.
Hey, Brooksy.
And then, how many rounds are we doing again, Joe? Sorry,
We'll do 5.
5. Okay. And then for my next one, give me Rory.
Rory.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with the Irishman.
Yeah. In honor of the NHL playoffs and NHL awards, I'm gonna go with DJ.
DJ.
We're gonna bring on DJ.
Fucking Paulina.
That's right.
Bombshell.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go one of the best iron players in the world. And if I'm not mistaken, did he win this award 2 years ago? Or did he win the US Open? Can't remember. I'm going Colin Morikawa.
Try and look.
I think he won it before JT, but I can't remember if that was.
He won it. Yeah, he won it once.
2020, 2021?
2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this one.
Fuck, he's 24? Oh.
Yeah, it's stupid. So this guy always shows up in majors, but I don't know if he has a win under his belt yet. But I'm going to ride the hot hand in the majors. I'm going Cameron Young. One of the thickest beards I've ever seen in my life.
He does not have a win under his belt at this specific tournament.
But he's always like runner-up somehow in every single major I've seen. So I'm just going to stick with that. And he's a good, young, no pun intended, player. So I'm going to pick him for General Faith's team. Chris, your fourth and second to last pick.
Victor Hovland.
What a pick.
That was my 4. But now I'm
Hovland's
going to go in a fucking different direction here.
Hovland's a stud. Hovland's a stud.
Absolutely.
I think this is a good one for him.
He could have won the Masters if it wasn't for can't play. So
yeah.
Can't
play fast.
Damn, Jeff. Jesus Christ.
Give me my fucking round of applause.
No. I'm gonna go for my fourth. I'm gonna go Xander Schauffele.
Nice.
Xander with an X.
Yeah, what a fucking name. Spelling it out, man.
Yeah.
2 F's. And then past winner, man who is finding the fountain of youth, the 64 degree himself, 2-time winner, oldest player to ever win it, Phil Mickelson.
There you go.
He's
I
playing
like it.
hot on the Live Tour right now. He's even doing like YouTube videos again,
Mhm.
but he's on it.
Flop shot God with the PH at the front.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Kris, your final pick.
All right, I'm gonna go for a long shot here, potentially just right there with the Philly Mickelson. I'm gonna go with the man who made Puma cool, who made the
Oh,
King Cobras, brought them back. You know who I'm talking about. The
Oh,
guy
buddy.
with the sushi board, Ricky Fowler.
Mr. Color himself.
That's right. Give me those fucking neon green pants, baby.
Yeah, that guy is fucking due for a win.
Absolutely.
He is due. Okay, now I feel like I gotta go for a long shot if you guys are picking long shots.
Who said Phil was a long shot?
Chris
I
did.
did.
Two-time winner. I thought you were talking about.
But does that mean
Xander
I'm supposed to fucking pick Fred Couples then, or what? If you're picking previous winners,
I'm going.
I'm not trying to.
I'm
put you in
going
every
Gary
direction.
Player.
Gary Player, I love it. The fucking karate
No.
kick master.
Oh man, who?
Oh damn! I
don't-
should have picked Hayden Buckley. He's the same name as me,
Okay, so
except it's not spelled the same.
I don't necessarily know if he's a long shot, but we'll see. I'm gonna go Tyrell Hatton. Tyrell Hatton. Yeah.
The Englishman. God, he has a forehead on him.
Oh, I know. He always shows up big in random tournaments, and I think you could play big for me this week here. I almost went John Daly because
I know, man. He's going. He is in the field,
almost
man.
went there.
I almost went John Daly.
Yeah. We'll do one more round in tiebreakers because in the Masters draft we had Hayden's first overall pick, Willie Z. He withdrew before he even started. So
Ooh.
we're gonna pick one more player, but he only counts if one of your players gets hurt.
Ooh.
So we'll technically is my pick, but since we're throwing it in, we'll go back to Hayden for the 1, 2, 3 for
No. You
players.
go. You go.
Okay. I'm going to pick Cam Smith. The mullet god himself from the land down under.
I come from under.
Nice. I'm thinking I'll go with Jason Day.
Ooh, coming off his first win in 5 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, he's fucking riding that hot hand. He saw the Florida Panthers and he's just gonna fucking keep it going.
Love it. Love it.
All right. Give me the homosexual himself.
Oh, I was between him and Cam Smith.
I always feel like it's just a meme. Like, fuck, he was playing so good, and then he's just kind of falling off a cliff. But you know what? If he's just on my bench, for the random ass time that someone pulls out, I swear to God, if he wins, though, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. The homosexuals.
The homosexual.
Love it. All right, boys. This was a fun ass episode. Uncle Kris, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it. Loved it.
Felt like it was only perfect to have you on after all the bantering we've been doing back and forth throughout these playoffs. I wanted to get your input on everything Leafs and playoffs so far, so appreciate it once again. Sorry if we kept you for too long, but
no, man, I could keep going, man. I was gonna add give you a U.S. perspective on a few things that you guys are missing that we didn't really have time for, but it's it you're doing a great job. Like, keep it up. You guys are listening to you regularly. You guys are really kicking ass, doing a great job with this. So it's coming through great. See if you can watch as much more TNT feeds if you can. They're doing such a good job with the broadcast.
they play it a ton up here, and
Biz is lighting it up. Biz Nasty's lighting it up. Anson Carter looks like a fucking fish out of water when he's on Sportsnet when he's on there, because it's just so different. But yeah, they're doing such a good job.
No, but the whole like TNT broadcast, like with Barkley, Shaq, Ernie, Kenny the Jet, like they got it perfect over in the NBA, and they're doing like the very similar style in the NHL. Liam McHugh does a great job and driving the bus. Rick Tocchet, and when he was going back and forth with Biz about the game's already over between Carolina and New Jersey, and they were betting live on air and going back and forth. Biz is shotgunning Red Bulls to keep his energy going during the late games, and he's breaking down plays extremely well from the overhead camera. Like, he's breaking it down great. TNT's got it perfect, and right now, fucking Sportsnet is a wet paper towel on the roof.
Sportsnet is hot garbage. It's
Bieksa and Friedman are doing a great job trying to like keep the energy going. But right now, Ron McLean,
he needs to go
constantly defending the refs when they shouldn't be defended. Kelly Rudy sucks. He's just I'm don't like Kelly Rudy as an analyst. I like Dave Amber driving the bus. Might be a bit of a homer because I interviewed him, but I like Dave Amber. But yeah, TNT is just firing on all cylinders right now.
They just need a little bit more energy. TSN is light years ahead of what Sportsnet is when it comes to energy on things. That's what's interesting on that side. I'm glad that you guys are able to see it. The interest down here, and Jev, I don't know if I sent this to you. Like, I wake up every morning and I watch Good Morning America, throw that on, see what's going on. Every fucking day they talk about the NBA playoffs, and today was the first day, or 2 days ago, it was the first day I saw the NHL playoffs talked about when the Stars won. Never brought up a single thing. Show highlights on that on Good Morning America, and never talk about it. So,
well, it's just insane with like game 6 elimination game. All they had was Mark Messier and one other guy, while Sportsnet had a full house on the panel, and ESPN was airing the game at 10 p.m. Eastern. Like, the only game of the day, it's like you're playing it that late with two of the best players in an elimination game. Like, and like, what's going on?
You know what do you know what ended up happening with all that? With how the NHL went back and forth with ESPN2. Best part is the fucking game started on ESPN2.
Yeah,
it still got on the station they were trying to avoid it to be on. Like, it's just Gary Bettman and their group is just the owners. I get why they like him, because he has grown the game for them, but they need to look at a holistic picture and look at where revenue and where the growth of the NBA is, where the NFL is, and where Major League Baseball is. They've all gone up like this. The NHL's gone up like this. Like, it's just, there's no comparison, man. They're just so there's growth, but there's just no exposure, and the interest in the playoffs is just fucking killing them. There's just, you don't see it here. That's all. It's you don't see what you want to see here. It's unfortunate. It's such a niche sport. So
they're just getting in their own way. It's like they're doing it to themselves.
No, 100%. We could have a whole podcast on that one and talk about that shit sometime.
Yeah. So we'll avoid going 4.5 hours and get ourselves in bed at an appropriate time. But Kris, once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, boys.
I don't know if there's anything you want to promote at all or plug. If
absolutely not. I know you guys usually throw out your Twitter handle and that. I don't say shit on mine. I think the last time I sent out a message was 2-3 years ago, if that. And I just got blocked by Damian Cox, so it's all good. I'm happy about that. So he can go fuck himself. So
love it.
It's all good.
You did your deed for the year. It's perfect.
There we go.
Hayden, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Hayden_Barton.
You can follow me on Instagram at Drevin.Lefave, on Twitter at DrevinLefave. Find everything for the show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LeftSideHeavy_, and subscribe to the YouTube where you can catch the podcast in video form. Left Side Heavy. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Do all that. Helps grow the show. KBNR coming this Friday. Me and Hayden have no idea what we're doing yet, but we'll have an episode for you then. And thank you so much for listening, watching, and all of the above. Peace.